Round of applause for Valentina. Hello, good to meet you. Have a seat. So, you're not going to need this. So, what I have written down for my notes, you're employed right now, you work in finance, and you also use that language, I'm kind of exploring, you're doing things to find out what it is that you'd love to do. Yeah? And so I just wanted to pick on you as well a little bit with the word find, and just say, what if you were exploring to create something?
What do you mean?
Instead of exploring, because if you go out to the world and I'm searching, I'm exploring, I'm doing things to see if I find that right thing, it's kind of like you're doing stuff until something goes bing and it makes you feel alive. And it's kind of like searching for a partner until you have that love at first sight experience. And maybe this isn't what you're doing, so I'm just kind of using this example, but I guess my first suggestion is, what if you said that I'm exploring until I find something I'm enough interested in to take another step forward with that, and then do a little bit more, and do a little bit more. Are you sold on the idea that it's about creating and not finding? A little bit? Okay, good. Just want to check in with that before we move forward. And so, what I wanted to talk about with you is, instead of going into more of that and exploring and stuff, let's just use the one thing that you're thinking maybe is the thing right now as the example, and we'll just go a few steps further. So do you want to tell us, or you can tell me and they'll listen, again, what is the thing that you're thinking, well, maybe this is it? It was quite cool.
It was, so it's about body and mind retreats. Because I'm just thinking, I'm thinking of all the things that I like right now. And how I would like to see all of these combined in one business. So the phase I'm going through right now, when I don't really like my job, I'm thinking, okay, what are all the things that make me feel better? So it's food, cooking. I'm Italian, I like my food, I like to cook. So food, dancing, yoga, meditation. So everything that connects the body to the mind.
Cool.
So physical experiences and relaxation.
Good.
And all of that. So I just thought, it's all the things that I like, so
combine them into
first
one.
try.
And you talked about doing them as retreats.
Retreats.
In Italy, and we're out in Spain. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
I was thinking of a few locations, depending on what type of experience it is. So maybe food is in Italy, and then something closer to the beach in Spain, and something else.
Yeah. Good.
Different things.
Cool. So have you taken any action on it yet?
No.
Okay. Cool. So let's smash into a million pieces. What's the first tiniest step, if you were to do it?
Maybe go to one of those to see how other people do it, how it works.
Maybe. So I'll share a perspective on that. This is typically where we go when we think, if I want to do this thing, I should go and see how other people do it. I spent a few years when I first got into this business thinking that if I want to do this well, I have to see how other people do it, and I struggled. It was about trying to promote myself, fake it till you make it, all this marketing stuff. It just didn't work for me. I think some people can do that and make it work, but it didn't work for me. And there's a small little story. If you go on one of my websites, you'll see it, but it's a story about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And it's the story about all these knights are around the round table with King Arthur, and they're about to eat a meal, and the Holy Grail appears out of thin air. And they see it, and they're all raptured, and they're like, oh, wow, it's amazing, it's beautiful. And then it's gone, it vanishes again. And they're like, oh, now, okay. Well, we obviously can't eat dinner now until an adventure has occurred. We have to go search for the Holy Grail and find it. And so one of the knights stands up and says, yes, I agree. However, it would be a disgrace for us to go forth in a group. So we must go forth on our own. And they do. They all go forth in search of the Holy Grail. And this is the important part. They each entered the place in the forest where it was darkest and where there was no path. And it says in the myth, because where there's a way or a path, that is someone else's way. And so the point is to not go where people have gone, to not do it the way others have done it, but to do it your own way. And your own way is the place that's darkest to you, actually, paradoxically. It's the place that's most unknown. And so I know it's scarier to just make it up, but it's actually the way that's more unique to you. And that's what's going to make you shine, and it's going to make people actually interested in what you have to offer. It's already unique. I love the fact that you said, what are all the things that I love, and let me just mix all that together. I can relate. I love coaching, I love traveling, I love adventure, I love magic and illusion, I love being in the outdoors. My coaching I work with leaders and I take them hiking. I went up a mountain in America last week or 2 weeks ago. I took a CEO to Marrakesh and we engaged people in the markets and created challenges and games. And I coach and I travel and I'm in the outdoor and I just mix it all together. Same idea. And so you can do that. You can mix it all together and do that. And the idea that maybe going to see how other people are doing it, what if that's actually the worst possible thing you could do? Yeah.
So, in that case,
So, good try. One of the other important points. Yeah, exactly. So
another option would be maybe seeing if there are any places available for retreats, for example, in Italy, because I'm from there, so
yeah.
choose a place that I like, see if there are any villas or anything available that could be rented for a week.
Okay, let's just go on this thread for a minute. Let's just analyze this process. And then once you found a place, then what would be next?
Then I would need to decide which activities I want to do. So maybe I can start with a few, not put everything together. There might be a lot of... So I don't know, let's say I want to do cooking classes to start with.
Yeah.
So find if there are local chefs or maybe someone who likes to teach cooking.
Cool.
See how much they will charge for
a
week.
Get the services and stuff kind of ready, organized. Cool. What else?
Start to see who will be interested.
Yeah.
So maybe ask my friends or friends of friends if anyone is interested in doing a week in Italy.
Yeah.
Learning to cook Italian food.
Yeah.
And
How would you go about doing that?
I would probably start by asking friends of friends, Facebook,
Yeah.
emails.
Yeah. Cool. What else?
And then maybe contact other people if, okay, I want to do the cooking, but I also want to do something related to the mind, so ask if there are any local yoga teachers who want to come in the early morning to do a 6 a.m. yoga class.
In Italy? Yeah, good. Great.
And
So if you had to guess, what do you think would be the hardest part out of all those things?
start calling people to, actually not calling potential clients, but calling potential provider of services, just because I have absolutely no experience, and I would just call them up and say, I want to do this thing, what are your rates? I mean, for me, that's...
You did a pretty good job right there, I'm sold.
Yeah, here, but when I had to, I mean, if I had to call them,
Yeah.
it would be a bit more...
A bit more nervous.
Just because, I don't really have a plan, so if they were to ask me any questions, I'd be like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Great. Those all sound like good things. So, what's stopping you from doing it, if you're honest?
I think probably what you were mentioning before about the huge dream.
Yeah.
I just see that it's something so big and so something that I've never done. I've been doing the same job, which is quite, normal employee job for 5 years, and this would be a complete change. And I think it's more the scare of not knowing how to handle it, not even knowing where to start, or I'm by myself. And
So, another thing that I do sometimes with the big dream is I smash it, but not as hard. So just kind of like drop it and crack it into smaller dreams. Because those dreams, if you looked at any business or any dream or anything, there was a day when Dell Computer sold its first computer, or Apple sold its first Apple, and that was like a smaller dream that somebody had. So, and this is the context of your thing I can relate to, because I had a dream, I still do, of doing groups out in other parts of the world and doing adventures and things like that. And I'm moving towards that. And my coach helped me to see that, what if instead of being focused on having 30 people in Morocco for a week, you just focused on having one person in Morocco for a weekend? I was like, makes sense. That's a lot more kind of digestible. And so what if your whole dream could be shrunk down? What would a small version of your dream be that you could be a little bit less intimidating?
maybe a weekend.
For how many?
10.
What if you made it smaller? What about like a couple?
Couple?
Yeah. I want to make it so small that it's like, well, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then you can always make it bigger. But what's so small that it's pretty easy?
Then, I would say that's great. Okay, let's say I want to organize a cooking class for a couple of people.
Yeah.
Then it would probably be easy to rent a villa and find a chef.
Yeah. And what if you charge them enough for the flights for all of you, including yourself, the stay for all of yourself, the food for all of yourself? So you didn't make a profit, but what if you just created it, did it at cost.
Yeah.
And could you do that while you're still working your full-time job?
Yeah.
You could do it on the weekend.
Yeah.
And so this is another thing. You have a full-time job, and I don't know if you're in this position, but commonly people are in the position where I want to do something I love, but I'm in a full-time job, and I can't quit because I need the money, but if I don't quit, how am I going to have the time to do it? So I'm not a big fan of burning bridges. Yeah, so it is this for you as well. You don't need to burn your bridges. That whole jump ship thing, it's like, you don't need to do that. Everything can be shrunken down, and you can do this on the side. If you wanted to run a trip for a week with 30 people in 4 months, you might have to quit your job to do that. But what if you just started doing weekends while you're working? You started making a little bit of money. The next one's a little bit a profitable one. And the next one's of a holiday weekend, and you've got 3 days or 4 days, and take a day off, and you do it for a little bit longer, you make more money, and there's more people, and you build it up. So this is a whole idea of, it's a different approach. You know, there's the other approach to building a business, like startup fund, great marketing, PR, boom, get your big money, leverage, put it out there, and then, you know, hopefully get people to buy. And that works. You know, people can do that. I just haven't done business that way myself personally. I've built businesses, web development company, real estate company, and I've helped clients transition from corporate to consultancy by doing a little bit of it and growing it. And one of the great things about this, there's so many great things about doing it this way, is you don't need to be a salesperson for what you do. You don't need to sell and convince and persuade people. You prove it through providing an experience. So you get excited about the idea with a couple people of bringing them to Italy for yoga and food and cooking for a weekend. And then the next time you go and talk about that, how much easier it is to talk about it once you've already done it. So I see a little bit of excitement. So tell me, how are you feeling about this idea right now?
That's a great idea.
Yeah? Cool.
No, I feel like I want to do it now.
Cool. So what will you do? What kind of action will you take?
Okay, I can think of a weekend not so far away in the future. See what's available in terms of accommodation and classes or whatever I choose to do.
And you can do that from here? You don't have to go to Italy?
Yeah, no, I can do it from here, yeah.
Cool.
Just on the phone.
Make a few calls to some yoga instructors and...
Maybe start with friends, you know, just
there you go.
Come and I won't charge anything.
Friends are a great, well, don't charge anything. I'm making another list. Profit, cost, yeah. Friends are a great way to get started, you know. I don't know what people say, like, don't use your friends as customers. My first 6 coaching clients were all friends. I coached them for 3 months. It's a little bit weird to coach your friends, but at least when I went out and started talking about what I was doing, it wasn't just an idea, it was something I was doing legitimately. And so for me, I'm all about just doing the thing instead of trying to prove it or sell it or convince people that it's a good idea. Just do the thing. And if it's too big, make it smaller and do it anyway. If you have to make it one person for 5 minutes, just do it. And then the next time you make it for 10 minutes with 2 people.
Yeah. No, I really think the biggest block is something that you've never done before, so you will never do it unless you...
But shrink it. Shrink it down. Do it once, then make it bigger.
Great.
So make a promise to yourself in front of everybody here.
That when I come back in 2 months.
What is it? When are you going to do it, and what are you going to do?
I don't know.
You don't have to pick the date, but what's the first action you'll take? What's the first step?
Find a local chef. I think I'll start with food.
Good. Find a local chef, and when are you going to do that by?
I could do it by, let's say before Christmas.
Before Christmas?
Shorter? No, because I'm thinking.
There's a million pieces here. I guess I can find a local chef without booking everything. Yeah.
I can make a phone call.
Yeah.
I can do it next week, actually.
Next week, good.
Phone call is easy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking of organizing the whole thing.
So will you email me when you've done that? Just saying I've done it. Fantastic.
Can you email me too? Because I'd quite like to go.
There you go.
I will.
You exchange emails after the event. Cool. I'll take a commission on that. Thank you very much.